I'm Lauren Crispin, and I am the lead teacher on Craniosacral Therapy, a healing art core series and certification program. So I wanted to give a visual overview of how all the different component parts of this program flow together and what it might look like for someone to come through the program. After your introductory workshop with us, people enroll in the class and we start with what's called the core series. And that core series is comprised of four-day workshops. And those run from November to August. And they're just titled Core 1, Core 2, Core 3, Core 4. In those classes, we cover the foundational information from both biomechanical and biodynamic methods and do a very conscientious building of skills and perceptions and strategies. Also included are 4 one-day classes that help us integrate the information from these 4-day classes, because we do a lot in those 4-day classes, and so in between we need some integration. So we have 2 integration days between Core 1 and 2, and then 1 between 2 and 3, and 1 between 3 and 4. All of this together is the flow of the classwork that is involved with the core series, presenting that information. Additionally, students are required to do practice sessions outside of class and complete records of those. Those records are turned in to me in 3 batches of 15. And I review them and make comments on them and suggestions. It's one of the ways that we have an ongoing individual conversation about your work. Of those, 2 of them are classmate exchanges. Each round, so you do 6 total, with your classmates as well as people who might be in the core ahead of you or the core behind you. And then for those who are in the certification track, there's required reading. If you're just doing core, it's recommended, but it's not required. So that's our core series. If you want to go on further and become certified, there are a few additional different requirements for certification. And for certification, students are required additionally to do 4 3-day electives. And these electives are held throughout the year. And you have 8 to choose, 8 choices over a 2-year span. So there are 8 classes and I cycle through them on a 2-year cycle. And those involve, they're sort of paired with one another for the most part. I have a class on working with the brain and the cranial nerves, a different one on the cranial nerves. I have a class about working with full body unwinding, the birth pattern, as well as cranial and fascial methods for infants. I have a class on visceral mobilization, where we look at the fascia, as well as visceral listening, where we're working with that light touch rhythm that we see in cranial work. And then the last two in the series of electives, one is called myofascial balancing for craniosacral therapy. Myofascial balancing is the distillation of structural bodywork, structural integration that my husband and I have developed over the last 20 years. So looking at how can we address the hard frame, the axial skeleton, from a mobilization standpoint if people have stuck joints or other types of postural challenges. And then the other class in the series of electives is called Tending the Therapeutic Relationship. And that's where we get to do a really focused look at the nature of the relationship with our clients, things like boundaries, transference, countertransference, emotional release. It's also where we get to have the time to really look at polyvagal theory and the autonomic nervous system and all that we're learning about trauma, resilience, trauma resolution, and how all of those things flow together to enrich our practices. So along with those extra classes for certification, you're required to do 10 additional student exchanges, receive 10 sessions from a professional, from a licensed professional craniosacral therapist. You complete 2 case studies. And as a certification program, you do pass evaluations. There are 3 evaluations. One is oral on the material and 2 are practical. One that focuses on the technical skills that you've learned in the core series, and the other is the culminating step of the certification process where you put it all together into a professional session that I am lucky enough to receive, or a trained assistant is lucky enough to receive from the students as a threshold towards taking their work out into the marketplace, into the environment, and getting to have a reflection back of where their skills are and how far they've come and what their personal emerging style is for this work. Because my goal in this full process is that each student gets to develop and understand the work as it makes the most sense to them. So people who graduate the program have both a resonance with one another, but also their own individual style, and that's really exciting to me. So if you're interested in learning craniosacral work as one of the things you do, or maybe the primary thing you do, I hope you take a look at our program and be in touch with any questions you might have. Thanks.